I get so many looks because the turbos are so loud. What up, everybody? Look how crazy this is getting. We got green wheels for the Mustang. It totally looks like a spaceship now. These are going to be the street wheels. The front needs a little bit of a spacer. These came off an Evo. They're both 8.5 by 35 offset, so the front needs to become a little bit more. The rear is fine because the axle's a little bit wider. The back needs a 255 desperately, and the front needs a 245, and it'll look much better. I'm still not exactly sure how I feel about the green wheels on the green thing. It's almost a bit too much. We did order some purple wheels that we have to cancel the order, so it was going to be purple and green. We can get these powder coated whatever color, but we needed something to drive on the street. The next biggest thing was our overheating issue, and I feel like a dummy now that I think about it, but the way the LS water pump is set up, and I could show you more later when I get it off, because we're not running a thermostat down here, we just have this little block off plate. There's actually a piece on the thermostat that blocks the back half of this water pump. And essentially this outlet right here that goes to the radiator, and this back hose right here that actually goes to our turbos and the heater core can flow into this piece right here, like significantly. So I've been making myself 2 loops where the priority isn't pulling from the radiator to the engine now. It actually has the ability to come from the hot stuff that already went through the engine, and the stuff that's been coming from the heater core can actually cycle back through the water pump without going through the radiator either. Water pump. Gotta pull this piece off. Hope to never have to take this off. And here we are trying to take it off. Everything's a hammer. There we go. Oh yeah. It's definitely stuck on there. Let me explain quickly. If you have an LS, you're gonna wanna see this. Essentially the thermostat, I'll put a picture of it here. It has 2 layers. It has like the thermostat and then it has the bottom piece. Now the bottom piece actually seals against this bottom portion right here, and it blocks this passage. So this passage actually can go all the way up to here to the outlet, and then all the way to here, which is, this is our turbo feed for the coolant, and this is the feed for the heater core. It comes in here, goes to the water pump pushes it through the motor. It's supposed to come out through the motor, out through this, into the radiator. But there's a clear passage from this. Instead of going to the radiator, it can actually come back down here, come through this hole, and just go directly back into the water pump, into the engine. So that's hot. That's like an infinite loop that we've made there that needs to be rectified. This right here was the feed for our turbos. It can actually come backwards if it wants to, really, from the radiator, through the turbo, back through this fitting, back through this hole into the water pump. It can also just stay static in the heater core. It doesn't have to go anywhere, because essentially there's going to be pressure on both of these, so it doesn't have to go out one hose and back in one hose and back into the pump. The other thing I'm considering doing is blocking this one off right here. This is back from the heater core in the car, and running this fitting back into the radiator itself. So this has to be fed, the motor has to be fed only from the bottom of the radiator. But for right now, I think I'll be able to get my TIG torch in here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a piece of aluminum, put it down here, block that piece off completely because I don't have any room to run a thermostat. As you can see, my housing is really offset here, and I don't wanna add another idler to my system. The easy way to do, we're just gonna weld up this piece right here, drill a small little tiny hole in it so air can escape from where it needs to escape, and put it back on and test it. Now we just gotta try and weld that in there. Hopefully the torch fits, and some rod. There we go, our small little plate in there. I did weld up the center hole, and then I just drilled a smaller hole on top of it, just so nothing gets airlocked and stuff can move about still freely the way I think it's supposed to move. I don't know. Is that hole supposed to be there? We'll find out pretty quick. At least it's not a big, like, 1-inch hole. Now we get to refill it again. Once I get this hot, I got my laptop out here. I'm gonna work on the idle tuning because I've watched a couple videos on how to do idle tuning. And I think I got a pretty good handle on it until I realized that I don't. I do have a funnel that makes this higher also. It's leaking somewhere back here. Oh no, definitely got pinched in the water pump there. Shit. After all that, the gasket that's all the way in the back there, fell off the bottom bolt hole, and it slid sideways, and I bolted it in, and so it's not in place anymore. Brutal. I ruined my poor little gasket. Good thing I know where another set is. Unfortunately, I gotta go to the other garage to get it. Yeet. I hope that didn't go anywhere special. I haven't tested for any new leaks, but now we get to refill it again. That was brutal. I had to pull the whole water pump off again. I basically had to do what I did earlier, just again now. So instead of wasting any coolant, we're just gonna run water. I left the steam port off to hopefully let any air bleed out of there. Yeah, start it up, boy.
Oh no! There we go. 191! 190 is going down! The most I've seen now is 202. For a 5-minute cruise, still at 200. Good sign. I believe as we get more air bubbles out of it, it is getting better. It's down to 192 right now, which is amazing because before we couldn't keep it under like 220. But I get so many looks because the turbos are so loud. 193. Obviously at slower speeds, it gets a little bit warmer, but I've only seen 201 and then the fans take over and it's perfect. So this is really good news if we want to haul a trailer behind this thing for miles of mayhem. And as I park it in the garage, I think we found the airlock. But I went for a long way and it didn't get over 200 until I kind of got home and I just parked it there and then it started climbing. So I don't know. We're gonna go on a little bit of a journey in this car. I'm gonna take you to one of my favorite places and I'm gonna show you how much fun I can have sometimes. Cruising down the highway. Not real, I'm at a stop sign. Pretend race cars. The most important part is that you can reset. So I race, crash, and then I have to rebuild. This one you can just race, crash, and reset. Perfect. Marcus, still hate that green one. Just because the green sim itself has like an actual pedal box in it with actual brake pressure, and I feel like you have to like stand on it and almost snap the seat in half to really get it to brake. I'm more of a purple kind of guy. All of them are running iRacing, which is what I run in my basement now. But to get the full experience, you gotta come up here.
Let's go to Barber.
I've never been to Barber, so this will be interesting.
They're all blind turns except for 2 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we do the hot lap challenge up here every couple of weeks. The last one was at Road Atlanta in the Civic Type R, and there was like 1 blind turn, and it took me forever to like get around it without dying. As you can see, I'm on the leaderboard here. So Road Atlanta short, Civic Type R, that's my time. Not very good, but it's good enough. And now we're going on something with 1 million blind turns.
Yeah.
Just shy of it.
Most times when we run one of these random things, it's a car I've never been in and a track I've never been on, and it takes you like 45 minutes just to like make 1 clean lap. I got gloves because, you know, hands will be getting sweaty and you don't want to lose a race because of sweaty hands. It's gonna take forever to learn this track. Oh, that's not the road.
The race is next.
No qualified?
That was qualifying.
Oh, was that 50-minute qualifying?
I just put it up as like a 15-minute qualifying set.
All right, to be fair here, Matt is like miles ahead of me. He's had a sim rig for a lot of years now, and he actually runs this Reboot Racing place. Now I'm just gonna take you through 1 lap of this race here. This is my first time ever on this track. We did a 50-minute qualifying session, so that's all the time I had to learn the track. I kind of knew the F3 car because it's one of my favorite cars in iRacing. So I had 50 minutes to make a clean lap, and then a 10-minute race, which means I had to do 10 laps without crashing at all, which I did manage to do, and I set my fastest lap in the race almost by 2 seconds over qualifying. I went like a 1:21.5 in qualifying and a 1:19 something in the actual race, which is, it's awesome, and it's super fun. I'm like super addicted to this. If you guys are in Alberta and you've ever been to West Edmonton Mall, he just opened a location in West Edmonton Mall, so go check it out, take some of your buddies. It's so fun to like, so hear me out, grab 4 of your buddies, go there, do like a 1-hour session where you have like a 45 minute practice session, a 5-10 minute qualifying session, and then like a 10-minute race. And trust me, it is one of the best experiences ever, and I swear you'll be hooked on this thing. I am almost contemplating getting out of drag racing to build some sort of circuit car to do lapping days versus just going in a straight line and building for horsepower. Which is kind of weird for me to say, but I feel like the value versus the excitement is a lot more in a circuit car. It probably applies to drifting as well, over drag racing. Like, drag racing is just how much money can you spend to go how fast. But I feel like when you get to take turns and stuff, it's more than just how much money can you spend. It's more about how much skill do you have now. And like I said, I'm having so much fun with this. And I encourage everybody, if you have a sim racing place around you, just to jump in one for an hour and you'll see how much fun it is.
All right, we're all done racing now. Let's just see if it'll cold start. A real test. Need a little bit of throttle there.
It's the next day. Look at them twin turbos, baby. Let's just check the coolant here. See if it went down any. Not really, actually. Maybe we got most of the air out of the system. Big win though. Tokyo went out of town yesterday and he did bring back some tires for us. So we have some zesty Doritos here. That's what we call them. They're actually called Zestinos, but zesty Doritos sounds better. These are going to be the front set 235/40 18s, and these are going to be the rear set 265/35 18s. Those are going to be a little wide for an 8.5-inch wheel, but we'll make it fit. And they're actually an R compound tire, so it's like 120 tread wear, so it should have a little bit of grip. Nothing really is going to hold the twin turbos on the street, but the other 2 green wheels are actually in the truck. They didn't come with tires, so I put the 2 green ones on the front, those on the back, just so nothing would rub. We do have to roll the fenders a little bit here because it has been rubbing a little bit. And this week is gonna be so crazy. We have lots of crazy stuff to finish. Our giveaway pit trike right here, this thing is actually getting a new frame. I'm just getting the material tomorrow to build a frame jig, and then everything's gonna be perfectly square, and the head tube angle is gonna be perfect on it because I'm gonna be able to set it up beforehand instead of just trying to hold it and weld it in place. Because we bought a cool head tube jig, we just have to build a little frame for the head tube jig to stand on, and then it's gonna be awesome. Trust me, if you wanna be entered to win that thing, it's a 420cc pile of craziness. BoostedLifestyle.com, every $1 spent there gets you 1 entry. And then we get to finish this thing this week too. The mess I put on this thing. I'm literally cleaning the garage right after this video. We got the exhaust for this thing. We get to put all the clamps back on it, and we get to test this thing, and I hope it doesn't blow up because I don't know if we did any low range tuning, and this thing's gonna make a lot more power low end than it did the 4 turbos on the high end. It's just one of those things you gotta wing it and say frig it. And I know you guys have seen this in the background, and I just haven't made time to do anything with it yet. Matt and I picked up this, the guy who owns Reba Racing. We're not really sure what to do with this yet. I wanted it mainly for the body because I don't know where you're gonna find a fiberglass like formula style body anywhere. The chassis is kind of jank, but everything I do is kind of jank, but this is like jank on a whole new level. And it actually came with a 3,000 watt motor back here, but it was actually kind of depressing versus how fast our 500 watt kids motorcycle goes. We were talking about putting a 420 in that as well, and Murphy's kind of an idiot. He was like, I bought this, and I don't know if you can use it or not, but I bought it anyways. So this is a 500cc supercharger, and I just don't know how we're going to adapt it onto a 420cc engine. With the biggest problem being, like, I don't know how we're going to run a belt system off this thing. Do you run the belt system off the chain, or do you, I don't know. Someone let me know. But he did give us this thing, so we have to put it on something. What do we put on, like a snowmobile engine? I feel like in order for this stupid thing to work, you need to have like a serpentine belt like an engine, and then the drivetrain on the other side. So like the engine has a flex plate on the back side and a balancer on the front side, so you can run the accessories off the front and the drivetrain off the back. I think that's what we need for something like this. What would be a good engine like that? Give me some ideas, guys.
And we have this thing here, which means we desperately need to get rid of one of these cars to put my car in here so we can build a third car. And we need to get rid of the second car so we can build Tokyo's car. Malibu's 2.0. It's coming up.
But listen, I'm glad you guys can enjoy it. I'm actually going to edit this, upload it right away, and work on another video because I'm trying to give you guys more content more quicker. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification thing because it'll give you more motivation to make more videos. Peace easy, and get that V. I think I just did, no, I did that right. Peace.